What's up guys, Sheldon back with another review, and today we are looking at the Super Action Statue Weather Report from Jojo's Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the box really quickly though. So, here are some of the poses you can put weather in. Here is a quick visual of all of the accessories that weather comes with. So let me just zoom in, not zoom in to focus on this. So you see that weather comes with these clown pieces over here, some interchangeable hands. Looks like most of them are the same on either side, except for this hand over here. You got a diver down leg, which we'll look at in a second. A display stand, of course, some clear plastic pieces to help you kind of put his clouds on him, and he comes with a total of 2 heads, one neutral face and one angry. Alright, cool. So here is the box art on the side, the box window, and here is the side again, as well as the top. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories a bit more closely. Alright, to start us off, weather comes with a pair of fists. Weather comes with a pair of straight finger chopping hands. He comes with a pair of hands with his fingers straight and flared out. And weather comes with a pair of hands with his fingers bent, slightly like gripping, or I guess just kind of action posy. Okay. That does it for the hands. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories a bit more closely. And in particular, the cloud that weather comes with, his signature accessory, I would say. So they haven't announced Weather Report's stand as a figure yet, so this might be a stand-in for it, a replacement for it though, because I believe his stand actually doesn't have any sort of like solid shape. It can just take the form of clouds though. And how this works, and I have it all in one piece, but you really just kind of get him in there and it like sits on his shoulders, but this is actually 3 pieces and I just did it together because it's harder to do it on camera. But you have these 3 pieces together, held together by this plastic, and you can take them off over here. But you just put the larger piece over your shoulder like this, and then you peg in the smaller pieces that we had on earlier, and it has a pretty good effect. And then the smaller pieces over here though, let me just show you, at the very back, you also have these indentations just to kind of slip his arms through, just so it fits nice and snug on him. And overall the clouds are pretty done well, or done pretty well I should say though. There's some shading here to give it some nice texture. I don't know if you can see it, but it comes in like blue and purple, which matches his color palette. And then Weather Report also comes with this little plastic peg, and that's very simply to peg through this cloud and into Weather Report's back. Because the regular display stand doesn't have a peg that's long enough to go through both of them. So those are the clouds. Weather Report also comes with this diver down leg, and this diver down leg is actually articulated, so it's an actual leg. And I don't remember the exact significance of this accessory actually. So how this works though is you just take off the right leg or right shin over here, and then you can see here, you just slip it on, just like Magician's Red, and it's a little tight, so I'm not going to put it all the way on right now, but it should give you a pretty decent idea of what's going on here though. So the texture of the pants are a little bit ripped over here, so they look nicer if you actually do it. But I don't remember, it's been a while since I've read Stone Ocean, but I believe honestly puts Diver Down inside Weather Report. I just don't remember why. So that's what that is though. It's a pretty cool effect actually. It's pretty interesting. So Weather Report does, yeah, come with a lot of cool effects. I gotta say, it's something I really like about this figure. And then the final accessory is this interchangeable head. His angry face over here. And my favorite part of this face sculpt and his face sculpt overall is actually the eyebrows. I don't know if you can see it, but the eyebrows aren't any different. They're just painted this nice purple color. So it's a really cool effect. The eyeballs and pupils themselves are painted very cleanly over here. No complaints, and even the black lining around the eyes and lips, very cleanly done. No complaints. And then the head sculpt over here, the texture of fur is done really well. I don't know if there's shading though. Can't really tell. Yeah, there's a little bit of shading to give it some texture, and of course these little cute little gold holders, cute little gold horns, are done pretty well. Okay, well, that does it for the accessories. Let's go ahead and take a look at Weather himself. Alright, so I have Weather Report leaned up against the wall at a slight angle, though. But Weather Report stands about to the very top of his hat. It seems like 6.5 inches tall, which comes out to be, I should know this by now, I've done this so many times. I'm saying 16.5 centimeters. Yeah, 16.5 centimeters. So pretty tall, actually, compared to other super action statues. So here he is next to Josuke. Josuke has his legs spread out, but still, you can see that he is significantly taller than Josuke. If I can get him to stand up a little bit more. Here is Weather Report next to Gappy, or Josuke. So I'm finally going to review him. Finally, I know people have been asking. Sorry, he's coming. He's coming soon. All right, but here he is next to Jojo and Josuke. And let's see here. Let me give you some more comparisons. Here is Weather Report next to Soft and Wet. And I guess Soft and Wet I haven't bent over, but very roughly Soft and Wet is almost the same height, actually. And then here is Weather Report next to actually one of my favorite figures of all time, and actually characters of all time, Satsuki. So yeah, overall a pretty tall figure when it comes to super action statue, and I believe the character himself is tall, so it's actually okay. So just that was these size comparisons. Go ahead and take a look at the articulation then. Okay. So, Weather Report has some pretty standard articulation when it comes to super action statue, since it's a pretty simple character design. There's not really that much stuff hindering the articulation. So, the head is on that hinged joint over here. His neck is pretty thick though, so I actually can't make him go 360, but it is on the hinge joint. So, here it is going left and right, pretty good range of motion, and then up and down with just the hinge, and then with the neck combined. Let's see how much I can do without popping his head off. So you can actually get him to, whoa, this looks like it might be popping off. I can't tell. You can get him to like all the way down like this. I think that's just the hinge about to pop off though. Let me see. Okay, yeah, that was the hinge popping off. Okay, but you can see that it does have a, not hinge, joint, like a socket in there. So you do get a bit of rotation in the neck. So pretty decent overall. I can get him to look around. The hat does hinder him going up though, as you can tell. It just doesn't let him go that far back. For the shoulders over here, you do have a hinged peg that pegs into the torso and the bicep, and the shoulder pieces over here. So going up, it actually goes pretty well. Full horizontal, the shoulders just tuck underneath that piece, so it's nice. And then for the rotation, the shoulder piece does get in the way, but the shoulder piece itself does also rotate with the arm, just like Dio, as you can see here. So pretty standard design for super action statue. No bicep swivel, but it does swivel at the shoulder. Let me see if I can get it to work though. So you can get it to swivel at the shoulder. And then you do have double jointed elbows over here. So better than 90 degrees, maybe like 125. You can't get him to go all the way though, like some figures. I think thanks to the sculpt over here. He's just too swole, man. You just can't bend all the way. But then you do have rotation at the elbow a little bit. The elbow pad does get in the way a little bit, but it technically is there, and same in the forearm. And then for the wrists, the cuffs are sculpted pretty far down though, and they're pretty big, so they do actually hinder the articulation a bit. So the articulation technically is there, the swivel and the rotation, but again, the sculpt is going to hinder it thanks to how big it is. And then the waist, let me see if I just readjust these over here. The waist is on a socket and on a socket, so you do get pretty decent range of motion going back actually, and it doesn't gap yet, which is actually pretty nice. And then going down, just about that much, and then combined, you get about this much. Let me see if I can show you. Get about that much, and then going forward, not that much. So, you know, it seems pretty typical for super action statue to go further back than going forward, but I guess most of the fabulous poses are like this anyway, so who knows. I don't mind. And then rotation though, when you combine them, you can get him to go about this far. Not bad, I think, as long as it's natural. And then for the waist and hips, or hips I should say though, we just have him, and I'm just going to pull out for us over here, we just have him on those traditional sockets. So here is Weather going out to do the splits, and actually, wow, it's better than I was expecting, actually. I don't know how much of this is him, the joints popping out. Oh no, actually no, yeah. So pretty decent. The sculpt is getting away, but you don't get full splits though. Here are the legs, or the leg, going forward, and it does hinder a little bit thanks to the sculpt. You can see that it just bumps up, and you can get the thigh swivel in there to give him a bit more articulation, but there it is though. That's the leg going forward, and then going back only a little bit thanks to the butt sculpt. You can get him to go further back if you get it to go a little bit out though. And again, thigh swivel is already mentioned. And then for the knees, you do have double jointed knees. So you get full range of motion over here, really, really good, much better than the arms. And then the ankles over here, nothing really in the way, but the sculpt does go for pretty far down. So here's the ankle articulation going back, going forward. Pretty consistent problem with super action statue. Again, it's because the shoe comes up so far, so it just bumps into the sculpt. And then for the ankle rocker, that seems to be about maximum. And of course you have the toe hinge over here. So in terms of articulation, pretty good actually. Again, the character design is pretty simple though, so I mean it better be good if it's not that complicated. In terms of paint and sculpt, it's just a single color. And on the surface it's not actually that exciting, but it's done fairly well. And he actually feels like a pretty hefty figure, and he has a good size to him. So I think it's a pretty good representation of the character, and I think it's even in the correct colors. Weather Report has only ever been blue, so I think it's pretty accurate. Let's talk about the paint and sculpt more technically though. So the purple and blue, it is actually more, it's kind of hard to tell. It's like purplish, bluish. I don't know. I guess you'll see it, but it's like, in my opinion, it's a combination of purple and blue, more purple to me. But it is a matte color, and it's pretty done. I think the flat color works well because he's supposed to be wearing a jail outfit, so like a jumpsuit. But I mean, it's pretty stylish, all things considered. But it's done pretty well, and I forgot to show you the back over here. But the back does say Green Dolphin Street Jail. I believe that's what it's supposed to represent. And then these pieces over here are sculpted. And then it's also very nice, he also has a little star birthmark on his neck. Now, I don't remember the significance and why he has the birthmark, so I don't know if it's much of a spoiler, but it's on the figure, so there's no avoiding it. And I don't really remember what it's for, though, and why. But overall, the appearance is pretty good. Everything's done pretty cleanly over here. He's got a golden dong, and this W over here, W for weather, is done pretty well, though. So pretty good, I would like to say. My figure does have a couple of spots where the paint application is not completely clean, but that does sometimes happen for Super Action Statue. For the smaller details though, I'm not going to hold it against him because the whole figure is mostly pretty good. So overall, I would say a pretty good representation of the character. I really do wish they would make a Weather Report stand because I think it would go really well together. But overall, if you're a fan of Weather, I would say, yeah, go ahead and pick it up. And if you're not really a fan of Super Action Statue or Jojo, maybe this character might not be that exciting, because again, it's mostly just one color. Something that I also do want to mention, though, is there's something about his neck, right? It's not just me. It's really thick, and it's kind of long. And I can't really get over that. From the front, it looks very long. It might be because the cut of his shirt is so low, but from the back, it looks good. So that's also something I want to mention in terms of proportion. But overall, I think it's a pretty nice figure and it's a pretty good character. He is a slim character and he's tall, and it overall looks good. Well, that does it for this review though. If you enjoyed, feel free to give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I'm going to put weather in some poses at the end for you all. Alright guys, thanks for watching.